On January 1st of this year, Drive the Globe released a YouTube teaser trailer video outlining what is probably our most epic and most ambitious trip that we've planned in our 25-year history. This spring, we are to embark on a around-the-world trip comprising all 7 continents and doing it in the Mercedes Unimog and Expedition trailer that you can see behind me. We've been largely quiet for the last 90 days or so, mostly doing a lot of preparation and preparing for the trip. We thought with as many questions as we are getting recently, and with the current COVID-19 epidemic going on around the world, that we would address some of these questions and kind of let you know what the future of our trip and plans are going forward. To do that, let's take a seat in the trailer, and that way I can get to show you some of the things that we've been working on as well. Today is Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. I'm sitting here in the Overland Expedition trailer. This is our first 2 on Tuesday that we've done in quite some time. And in fact, it's our first video in 2020. Gotten a lot of questions from people all over the place asking, hey, what's up? What's going on with your big trip? How does the COVID-19 crisis impact that? So today we're going to do a little brief sort of summary, I guess, of behind the scenes, what's been going on, what does the future look like, and where do we go from here. Obviously, let's talk about first the elephant in the room, which is the COVID-19 situation. Over the past couple weeks, I've been in dialogue with a bunch of friends and fellow overlanders in different parts of the world, including Southeast Asia, Australia, Africa, South America, and here at home in the United States. This is a very unique situation. It's probably the largest news story certainly of my lifetime. I look back to 9/11, which is coming on, 20 years ago. That had a huge impact on the world for sure. And it particularly impacted us as we're 100 miles outside of the New York metropolitan area where I'm sitting here today. I knew 2 people that did not make it through that we lost in the 9/11 attack in New York. And I think it affected the world completely, all around the world, and things have been very different since then. What makes this COVID-19 thing even more different than that, though, is that I'm sitting here in basically a quarantine situation. We have basically a stay-at-home order in place here. Most of the region does, most of America does, but so does the rest of the world. I talked to a friend the other day in Australia. They had to evacuate. Luckily, they've gotten back to the United States. I've talked to some people that are in Morocco and Africa. They are hunkered down right now. Same situation going on. Everything's closed. The schools are out. There's supply issues at the grocery store. Virtually the world has come to a standstill. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this because I think we're all in the same boat, no matter whether you're here, you're in India, you're in Thailand, or you're in Chile. The same thing is going on, and we are all experiencing it together. We're in this together. So I don't want to talk about that. I think today we passed a milestone in America of, there's more than 1,000 people have died of this disease in New York City alone. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people it's affecting around the world, and it's growing exponentially. So our original intent was to depart on this trip towards the end of May, beginning of June, and largely focus in North America, meaning the United States, Canada, and head towards Mexico in the fall season as it got cooler up north here. The short answer to how does the COVID-19 affect us in this trip is I really don't know. What I can tell you is currently, and this goes for both our trip and anybody else out there that's thinking of doing anything, stay home, stay in place, don't spread the disease any worse than it is. We can't tax the infrastructure in places that are both either remote or where we're not from. Everybody is dealing with this situation in the best possible way that they can, and we can't go anywhere. I mean, that's the bottom line. We're stuck where we are. The last 90 days, I pretty much have spent selling everything. I've gotten friends with Facebook Marketplace and gone through, and to be honest with you, my house is almost empty. So I'm living in an empty house with not much to do other than work on the truck and the trailer and prepare for the trip, even though I don't know when we're going to be able to leave. The tough part behind this is I have not had any contact with a real live human being in about 13 days now. I think a lot of us are in that same situation. We're just hunkered down at home, and it's difficult. Working on the project that I'm working on here has been not too bad, although I've noticed more recently there's some supply problems getting things here, some of the parts and different components that I'm working on, particularly the ones that are coming from either Europe, and even now Amazon, honestly, has gone from, what you would expect to have something show up the next day or the day after to you're looking at potentially weeks or even multiple weeks. So I've gotten a lot of dialogue. What's been going on? That's been basically what I've been doing is, shedding my worldly possessions in order to move into this 70 square foot trailer. I half jokingly going to write a book about moving from a very large house into a very small, I wouldn't even call this a one room tiny house, but whatever you want to look at it. It's come along quite nice, and we've done a lot of work. So a couple points of interest before I answer some of the questions that have come in. One, our online store has been shut down due to some supply issues and, quite frankly, the reliability of shipping things right now. So until further notice, because of the COVID-19, our Drive the Globe online store is temporarily not shipping. Two, we've usually stuck to a Tuesday schedule, although, as you know, the last 90 days we have not put out any videos. We usually stick to a 2 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time in the United States to release videos. That is going to probably not hold. I'm going to try to put out a backlog of stuff that we have filmed and not put out, and I'm not going to go with a set schedule. I will let people know through social media, Instagram and Twitter and whatnot, when things are coming out and when to look out for. I'm sure there's a lot of you that are probably sitting at home with some free time on your hands, and we're going to be showing you some different builds of things I've been working on in the trailer, and some of the stuff that we just never got out. I have some stuff from Overland Expo East in the fall. We took the Land Rover up to do Winter Romp in February, which was pretty much the last event that has occurred. I've done a lot of scrambling around. Being a big cyclist, I had a number of races coming up this year, a number of different overland events, all of which have either canceled outright or have postponed or indefinitely postponed, or some of them even for next year. So it's been kind of a mad scramble with the schedule. Right now, I've got nothing on the schedule. As far as I'm concerned, through July has been pretty much canceled. We may do Overland Expo, both the west, the mountain, and the east version of it. I may be teaching at those, depending on what happens, and we're gonna have to see. So let me answer some of the questions that are being asked. I think the number one question is this trip, what exactly have you guys planned, and what is it all about? And my quick answer to that is that it's a 7-continent around the world journey in a 1979 Mercedes Unimog with a custom kind of home built expedition trailer. And you might ask, wow, what do you want to do that for? And I guess the answer, the short answer to that is that's kind of what we've been planning to do as long as I can remember. That's what I've wanted to do. And certain things have aligned and certain things have come together to make that be able to happen. And then, of course, COVID-19 came in, and just when you think you got everything organized and ready to go, you don't. So probably the second biggest question is, how long does that take? And that is the one question. By the way, we have launched the webpage for the trip. There's a lot of answers, a lot of photos, a lot of video, a lot of stuff up there that you can watch out for. And there's some beeping going on here. I'm not sure what that was. I don't know if that's my battery alarm for the trailer or the GoPro. Probably the GoPro, because the GoPro never works, right? I can't answer how long that takes. What I can tell you is I have other friends in the Overland community that have done similar style trips. My estimation would be that it's probably realistically a 3 to 4 year trip. Our rough outline on the route was to start in North America, because that's where we're based, travel throughout the United States and Canada, probably spend about 6 months doing that, and then head down the Pan American Highway through Central America and South America, ultimately ending up in Tierra del Fuego and Patagonia. And obviously, because of seasonal weather, we want to be there in their summertime, which is wintertime in North America. And at that point, we would ship the vehicle and the trailer from Argentina to South Africa. While that is occurring, because there's some time lag in there, would give us an opportunity to, obviously without the vehicle, but to explore and at least set our feet on the continent of Antarctica, which would be the 7th of the continents. The truck should be able to make it to the other 6. Once flying over to South Africa to pick up the truck, the general route would take us through Africa, and right now both the east and west north-south routes are open in Africa. Now, having traveled extensively throughout that continent, I can tell you that that comes with a big pile of rusted bolts, if you will. They open, they close. Different countries have different problems at different times. What I can tell you is that it's probably the first time that I can think of in the last 20 years where both routes have been open. Obviously, this was pre-COVID-19, so we'll have to see. So generally speaking, the preferred route for me anyways would be to go up the west coast. And the reason for that is that it gives the path of least resistance, if you will, to get into Europe. Because once traveling throughout the continent of Africa and heading up the west side, you eventually make your way up to Morocco. And once in Morocco, we can take the ferry across the Strait of Gibraltar into Spain, which is what we did many years ago in our Western Trans-Africa trip. We took the ferry the opposite direction from Spain to Morocco and then down through West Africa. From there, we tour Europe, Asia, come across Asia. In Asia, we would probably take the northern route, meaning that it is to the north of the Himalayan mountains for obvious reasons, because of political instabilities in Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, and the southern part, and loop up along the top, which brings you down into Southeast Asia eventually. And then from there, we would ship the vehicle. So basically, the second time we would have to ship the vehicle would be from Southeast Asia to Australia, and then complete the journey throughout Australia, and eventually return back home to the North America. So that's the sort of the general route of the trip. Now, I guess after how long is it going to take and what's the general route, what are you going to do? Is this a driving trip? And I want to emphasize that this is not driving. So if I were to set out in the Unimog and drive the probably 220,000 miles that this route entails, that wouldn't be a ton of fun. It would be a hard time just sitting in a truck and driving. And how long it would take you to do that, I don't know. The goal here is largely to explore, to see cultures, to meet different people, to do a lot of hiking, to do a lot of cycling. I'm making custom mounts for the bikes on top of the Unimog. So who's to say that there's not a place that, you know, we get to that we decide to stay for 6 months or who knows, you know. So it's open-ended from that standpoint. It is not a driving trip. The next question to that is the Unimog and the trailer the right vehicle for this trip? And the long and short answer of that is absolutely not. You know, I teach a class at Overland Expo talking about the right truck for your adventure. The problem with an around the world trip, and you're talking about different terrain, different continents, different temperatures, different, you know, all sorts of different things, different availabilities of parts, different availabilities of fuel, et cetera, et cetera. At this point, I believe that this truck and trailer combo is probably very good for the Americas. I have significant doubts as to whether it's the right setup in Africa, although I will tell you that I know people and I've seen many people do it with all sorts of different things, from Volkswagen Bugs to gigantic MAN 8x8 trucks. So my experience, having been to most of the countries in Africa, I will tell you that I'm a little skeptical about the trailer, the wheelbase, the size of the Unimog, and some of the roads are quite frankly unbelievably bad, particularly in the jungle central part of Africa, going through the Congos, Cameroon, you know, countries like that are very wet. You know, I've told the story before. We were on one road in Congo where we probably went 25 miles in 4 days. The terrain was that unpassable. So I have my doubts. I guess to summarize that, it isn't about the truck, right? So I can't tell you sitting here today inside this trailer that this trailer is going to make it the whole trip. I don't know. Who knows? That's not the point. The point is to go on this trip and experience what we're going to experience ourselves. The mode of travel isn't that important. A bunch of you guys, and I appreciate this, have asked if, you know, there's any chance that you could go with us or go parts of it or you know, share part of the adventure. And the answer to that is a definite yes. Early on, we made a kind of a commitment that this would be a collaborative effort in a sense. I know obviously a lot of people in the overland world, and we're going to be doing parts of the trip with potentially multiple vehicles, different people. Our goal is to definitely be filming this and bringing it to you guys as live as possible. You can expect a weekly video. We have launched, we will be sort of morphing our current YouTube channel, which today has 7,500 or 8,000 subscribers right now. Thank you very much for that. And up until now, it obviously has comprised multiple stuff, whether it's the Unimog or the Jeep or the Land Rover or how-to videos. You'll probably see a shift a little bit towards, you know, the around the world trip. But we will, our intention is to keep you guys sort of for those of you that can't go with us, riding along with us through the camera. And I've talked to a bunch of different people that will be joining bits and pieces of the trip in itself. So if you have any interest in that, or traveling with us, or doing different things, shoot me a message through the website or any one of our social medias, and we can certainly chat about that. So coming up, you're going to see a lot of video about how I set up the trailer. This is, you can see kind of behind me, this is, I'm going to call this trailer 2.0. We largely finished this build last summer, and I had the opportunity to take it on the road on a number of occasions and test it. We ran into, as you would expect, a bunch of different issues. I've kind of completely retooled and certainly redecorated the inside. Had some problems with our prior wallpaper selection, where it literally just kind of fell off the walls. I've completed the heating system, the electronics and electric system. We've got exterior lighting now for camp. I put in battery monitors. I'm going to be talking at length about our solar system. We've pretty much set this thing up to be off the grid and self-contained and powered by energy that we can produce. The bathroom has been upgraded. We've put in a UV light, LED light water treatment system to purify water for drinking. We'll be talking about that, and a whole mess of other upgrades. So that's what you're going to see coming up in some videos. But keep shooting out some questions. I don't want to spend too much time today talking, but I did want to update you guys on what was going on for the last 90 days and kind of what I've been doing, what we've been doing to prepare for the trip, and the COVID-19. I'm going to stay away from the COVID-19 going forward, talking about that, because it is what it is, and you can get plenty of that from CNN and Fox News. And we're going to stick to, I guess, more lighthearted, more adventure kind of productions here, and talk about overlanding, adventure, cycling, hiking, whatever you guys want to talk about. So be sure to see you soon. It will not be 90 days. We're going to start getting some videos out, and look forward to talking to all of you. Have a great day. Thanks for watching this video. If you like what we're doing, be sure to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the truck and tree symbol to your right. Once again, thanks, and hope to see you soon.